On my wedding day, I was left behind by my fiancé. My fiancé, a newcomer to the business world who has always been indifferent and restrained, kneels on the rooftop and prays for the woman who bullied me not to jump off the building. The guests taunted me that it is the unloved who is the third party. But none of them knew that I got all of Zhang Yan's property, turned my head and left to live the life of a rich woman. But he went crazy looking for me all over the world. Yao Yao, I really love you. I took off my sunglasses. Excuse me, who are you? There's only a week to go before Zhang Yan and I have our wedding banquet. Ah Yan, do I look pretty in this? Where is everyone? He accompanied me to try on the main dress and said he'd wait for me. I put on my wedding dress and Zhang Yan disappeared. Not a word was said to me as my fiancé. The clerk was a bit embarrassed and asked the front desk before realizing that Zhang Yan had left a few minutes ago after receiving a phone call. I froze in place, and for the first time, the idea of not getting married came to me. The next second, I denied myself. Zhang Yan loves me, he wouldn't leave me without a word when it's important. Every date, no matter how busy he is, he has never left in the middle. He is careful and considerate, wearing a leather band on his hand. He never lets me carry a bag, and wherever I am in need, there is him. Something big must have happened. Just saw the cell phone message. Girlfriends told me something big happened. Liu Yu is back. She was Zhang Yan's first love, the woman who played him like a dog. I looked at the person in the dressing mirror, her hair hanging down, her eye makeup smudged and dark, like an unjust ghost. I didn't call him. Because wherever Liu Yu was, he was. I brought my wedding invitation and went to the reunion. Before I even pushed open the door, I heard a familiar voice. Long time no see, Zhang Yan had to bring me to the class reunion. It's weirdly embarrassing. Images of being stripped, slapped, and locked in the toilet in the past came flooding back. The healed scars on my body were vaguely painful. When Zhang Yan saw me come in, he panicked and bowed his head for a split second. The entire room was silent for a few seconds. Liu Yu sensed the difference and looked at me as well. As if nothing had happened, she handed me champagne. Yao Yao, dressing up is much prettier than before. I almost didn't recognize you. I swept past her and stood next to Zhang Yan. In a voice only two people could hear, I said, "Put your arm around me." My vocal line was unsteady. I was gambling. Gambling that Zhang Yan was someone who wanted to save face, and that everyone present knew about the shit he and Liu Yu had back then. And I was his fiancé. After a few seconds, that hand finally released up. Stop it, Yao Yao. I'm just picking her up with a friend, and I brought you mint milk tea on the way, so don't be mad. I give him a deep look. It's Liu Yu who likes mint milk tea, not me. Leaving without telling me, picking someone up and bringing them to a class reunion. I twisted the flesh around his waist, and my hand ached in return. In other people's eyes, this became flirting. Don't spread dog food, class president. That's right, we're all getting married, steady on. The old classmates around me coaxed, and I obediently handed out invitations to everyone present. Amidst the flurry of congratulations, the grungy Liu Yu glared at me fiercely. She couldn't make it through her sophomore year of high school and went straight out of the country. She didn't belong at this reunion in the first place. She wasn't part of my invitation. She drank a lot of wine, a reddish color appeared on her face, and she fell towards Zhang Yan as she walked. Zhang Yan immediately held her up, his eyes overflowing with worry. Liu Yu's entire body was carried into his arms, his brows furrowed and his fingers trembled. It was as if he was afraid of breaking a rare treasure. I was amazed that Zhang Yan was not a wooden head. When I first started my business, he socialized late every night, and I would prepare sober soup and light dishes for him. Once, I accidentally cut my finger. He took a taxi to send me to the hospital overnight, bandaged tetanus. As usual, he did not have much emotion, rubbing my head. Fool, don't wait for me in the future, go to bed early. I thought that was love. Zhang Yan, he was just not good at expressing it, that's why he didn't have a worried expression. Liu Yu is drunk, I'll send her back first. While saying that, he quickly walked outside. Zhang Yan! I shouted his name, hoping that he would be more sensible. It was clear that I was his lover, his future wife, the one who was going to live with him for the rest of his life. He stopped for a moment and continued on without looking back. I became the subject of gossip at the reunion. Everyone was whispering. I heard that it was the class president who chased Zhang Yan backwards back then, and once Liu Yu left, she took advantage of the situation. It seems like Liu Yu bullied her back then, and this is her revenge back. I also saw with my own eyes that Liu Yu went to a room with a street gangster, and then her stomach got big and she went to get an abortion, and then she went abroad to recuperate her body. Why did Liu Yu come back? It doesn't break up the class president's good deed. Is this marriage still possible? Back then, things were too disgusting. In addition to me, no one knows the truth. These gossips are half true and half false. One of the things that people should strive to do the most is not to look back. Shadows, scars, let it stay in the past. People have to move forward to be happy. I long for happiness. I just wanted to say goodbye to the past and start a new chapter in my life with Zhang Yan. But the past is haunting me. I drank alone, from dawn to dusk. When I came out of the box in a muddle, I immediately sobered up when the evening breeze blew. I then wore a thin skirt, revealing the skin more pale. In front of a car stopped, the license plate number is a little familiar. This is not. A burst of nausea, I held the tree and vomited. Zhang Yan came down from the car and took off his jacket to cover my white arms. I smelled the strong perfume on his jacket and vomited again. Gross, get away from me. I pushed him away and he coaxed me into the car, saying that it was cold outside and that I shouldn't freeze myself if I had to fight or yell. I agreed dizzily. The car was filled with the smell of willow moon and I threw up on his suit jacket this time. 7-figure clothes were ruined like this. Zhang Yan did not have any expression at all, as if the clothes were not his. As if I am not his fiancé either. Opening the car window and passing by the trash can, I directly threw his clothes away. Afterglow saw the mint milk tea, I inserted a straw and let him taste it. He said it was good, I thought it was funny. I cook, even if the salt as sugar, he will always say delicious. When I try on clothes, he says they look good. I went to talk about cooperation, no matter successful or not, he said it was great. I just realized that the emotional value he has given all these years is all perfunctory. Well. After backing into the garage, I suddenly spoke. Do you love me? After a moment of silence, he said, Of course. He looked down, not daring to look at me, and smoothed the broken hair behind my ear. The hot breath sprayed delicately on my collarbone, bringing a tingle, and his low voice carried its own seduction, fooling me every time. I can hardly stand the ambiguity now. It's like everything is fake, even the love is stolen from Liu Yu. I cupped his face. Look at me, I'm your fiancé, Shen Yao. His dark eyes clearly hid the guilt after stealing. Poking his chest, the muscles are hard, as good a body as before. But the thought of him rolling with Liu Yu in the future with the body I love makes my heart soar. He is my man, my first love from school uniform to wedding dress. Obviously not even close. Zhang Yan, are you cheap? I gave him a slap. Zhang Yan covered his face, confused. And I was inexperienced in hitting people for the first time, and I exerted too much force. My hand was raw and painful, but it was far less painful than the pain in my heart. When you were in school, you were Liu Yu's licking dog. She didn't give a shit about you. She fell in love with you to piss off her social boyfriend, turned around and dumped you after making up. Do you remember that? The punks her boyfriend called and beat you up so badly you almost died in the alley. I saved you. You were tall and heavy. I couldn't hold you at all, but I still carried you hard to the hospital. I don't even know where I got the strength from. All I saw was the blood stained on my body. I was worried that you would die, and I sat in the hospital for the whole night." Zhang Yan froze and touched the wound on the back of his neck, where he had once been slashed. When he was unconscious, there had been cries in his ears. "Wake up! Zhang Yan, hold on, I haven't told you my story. I like you." He woke up and saw me with two swollen eyes, and his dry, cracked lips struggled to squeeze out two words. "You who?" My face flushed red at the sound of his voice, my heart beating fast and glad he wasn't dead. Attached to his ear. "Shen Yao." From then on, these two words were engraved on his heart. But as soon as Liu Yu returned, he forgot about the injuries he sustained and the love I've shown him over the past 10 years. Thinking back to the present, he held the back of my head and sealed my lips without waiting for me to react. It was fierce and ferocious, as if he loved me, and in the old days I would have been happy and responded to him passionately. I froze and let him kiss me. After a long time, he released me and wrapped his strong arms around me, his chin resting on my head. "I'm sorry." I was like a clown, my wonderful youth fed to the dogs. As if trying to make amends, he kissed me on the cheek. "I made a mistake today. I shouldn't have left you behind. I shouldn't have let you get the wrong idea about my relationship with Liu Yu." I sneer. "What kind of misunderstanding? You cuddled with her, sent her home, and left her scent on your clothes." He looked at me like a fried cat, counting his crimes, trying to defend himself but was dumbfounded. I looked at the 10-carat diamond ring on my hand and wanted to cry and laugh. 10 carats corresponding to the 10 years I was with him. But 10 years is not as much as one Liu Yu. Zhang Yan and I quarreled, moved back to the old townhouse. The old door locks, damp and moldy walls, and a layer of dust accumulated on the furniture. Compared with my luxurious wedding room, it is one underground and one heaven. I was at ease because there was no diaphragmatic love here, only bone-deep pain. "Mom and Dad, I'm back. Don't fight, get a divorce. It's better for you and for me. Why stay together if you don't love each other anymore? Isn't it hard?" I talk to myself like Mom and Dad are still around. They fight and I persuade them. In order to marry my mom, a famous beauty from all over the countryside, my dad struggled to become a businessman from a poor boy. Happiness didn't last long. My dad got hooked on gambling, the company was mortgaged, and the debt collectors chased me to my doorstep, trying to humiliate my mom. I couldn't reach her chest before I got in front of her. "If you don't leave, I'll call the police and have the police uncle arrest you all." The iron rods and bars in their hands rang, and the TV, refrigerator, tables and chairs, and my favorite Barbie doll, all smashed. "It's only right to pay what you owe. Tell your dad to cut off one of his hands next time if he doesn't pay." My mom hugged me and cried all night, and at dawn, my dad came back with the smell of perfume. "What have you been doing, and you know to come back? Bitch, mind your own business." I saw my mom carrying a kitchen knife, cursing as she cried. "When you married me, you said you loved me and that you wouldn't let me suffer. You lied to me. Look in the mirror, you're old. I only love beautiful women." Later, I realized that my dad went whoring after gambling that day and lost the last bit of money. I went to school that day. My mom didn't send me and suddenly kissed my little face before leaving the house. "Baby, study hard and live well." When school was over, the door of the house was surrounded by police. My parents fell in a pool of blood. My mom was holding a kitchen knife. The police told me that the debt collectors chased them to the house and my mom stabbed them all with a knife, including my dad. My dad had an insurance policy, and when he died the beneficiary became me, which was my mom's intention. I became an orphan and survived with the compensation. Zhang Yan lived next door to me. His mom took care of me and sent me meals from time to time. His mom took care of me and brought me meals from time to time. She reassured me that I wouldn't be alone if I made more friends and made me laugh by telling me embarrassing stories about Zhang Yan's childhood. I've been following him silently, knowing everything about him, and he doesn't know me. He has good looks, good grades, good manners, everything. He likes Liu Yu. I can't bear him to be cheated of his true heart. I can't bear him to be bullied. So I saved him and didn't give up on him even when I was bullied by Liu Yu. You see, in the end, I was the one who was lied to about my heart, and I was the one who was bullied. Lifting the curtains, the sunlight shines into the house. Closing my eyes, the stale odor in the air takes me back to before the change. My dad would bring me gifts every day, and my mom would comb my pigtails every day. They, never fought. I love Zhang Yan, it's true. After leaving him for just 3 days, I lost my appetite, ate only 1 meal a day, had no strength or mood, and sighed when I ran through my emotions a little. I don't want to let go and give him to Liu Yu. I got dressed and took a step out the door. The sun was blinding outside and I was blushing like it was cloudy. Rock music plays in my headphones, kicking small stones along the way, feeling a little better. Then look up, people unknowingly walked to Zhang Yan Company. Eyelids drooped and realized a fact. In my subconscious, it's all about him, and I've been unwilling to let go for a long time. The receptionist recognized me. "Boss lady! You haven't been here for a while, let me bring you in. Mr. Zhang is having a meeting right now, you might have to wait." I stopped the music and admired every part of the company. Some of the layout remained the same. It was also my heart and soul. I built that wall 5 years ago. I put the greens by the window and the lamps I bought from many stores, comparing them to other affordable and good ones. The company got bigger and bigger and was also redecorated, filled with efficient and cold atmosphere. I unintentionally glanced at it, and my fingers immediately trembled, pointing to the workstation across from the president's office. "Why is she here?" The receptionist, unaware of our feud, said bluntly. "You know her? Her name is Liu Yu, President Zhang's new secretary." She tapped on Liu Yu's desktop and gestured. "This is Mr. Zhang's wife, our boss's wife." Liu Yu lightly glanced at me and lowered her fingers that were tapping on the keyboard, revealing a sneer. "Boss's wife?" 8 words haven't even been written yet. She got up and walked around behind me, her palms resting on my shoulders. "Right?" I remember that Sunday in the restroom by the cafeteria. Her hands were so strong that she pushed my head into the sink. The stinging water entered my lungs, my chest felt like it was being pierced by steel needles. I could barely breathe, and I was shaking violently. Will I die? Will Zhang Yan be sad when he finds out? Forget it, it's better not to tell him. I don't want to see him frown. She enjoys my struggle and proceeds to whip me with the mop, dirty water splashing and red marks all over my exposed skin. I was soaking wet and begged her to let me go. She was unmoved. "Haha, you like Zhang Yan?" I curled up, suppressing my fear, and nodded. "He is one of my dogs. If you like him, that means you are also my dog. My dog, even if I kill it, it's not someone else's turn to pamper it." My scalp tore at her mention, forcing the dog to bark. Thinking of this, I turned around and slapped her dirty hands away, picking up a glass of water in the process and splashing it over. The heavy makeup she'd purposely applied was all smudged, like an unwashed palette. "Ruuki, when you're in society, you always pay back. What you did to me, I'm going to pay back one by one." Liu Yu grinned, not afraid in the slightest. In his heart, is it you that's important, or me? She changed her expression as if she was about to fall. A chortle came from behind her. "Shen Yao, what are you doing?" I stopped his hands from comforting Liu Yu. "Zhang Yan, is it bad to choose me?" It was as if he couldn't understand what I was saying. "Stop it, Shen Yao." Translated with DeepL.com free version. Turns out, it's not that he doesn't have a considerate side, it's just that this side was never towards me. People around me whispered, "Mr. Zhang cheated on his wife? He's with his secretary? Outrageous." The boss's wife suffered a lot with him, but in the end, she kicked him out. Tsk, men become bad when they have money. Zheng Yan carefully dried the water on Liu Yu's face and gave her a day off to rest. He coldly pulled me into the office and pulled the privacy curtains closed. Yao, this is a company, pay attention. I asked aloud. You know it's in the company too, so why did Liu Yu become your secretary? You're not trying to have an office romance, are you? He covered my mouth and I took a bite, noticing the band-aid on his hand. What happened to your hand? Cut it cooking. I looked at him deeply. When did you know how to cook? Zheng Yan laughed in exasperation, pinched my face and changed the topic. Is the tooth okay? I want you to care, you only worry about Liu Yu. Sitting in his seat, looking up in the visible album, was our wedding photo, male talent, looking like a natural pair. At that time, I almost had family. But then Liu Yu came back and everything changed. Liu Yu just came back to China and needed a job, and it just so happened that her secretary left, so I let her come over. Was it a coincidence, or was it just her? Zheng Yan was slightly stunned and continued to prevaricate. A classmate, help if you can. I took a deep breath and wrapped my hands around his neck, gently touching the scar. Ayan, we're getting married soon, remember what you said when you proposed. He nodded, his expression in a trance, like he was reminiscing. On the cruise ship, roses covered the carpet, and drones in the sky were arranged to look like rings. Zheng Yan walked towards me step by step, the sea breeze was soft, and so were his eyes. Kneeling down on one knee, he opened the ring box, and the diamond was big and sparkling. I said I would give you a home. I, Zheng Yan, will never neglect Shen Yao. If there is a mistress, I will leave my house with a clean slate and not be allowed to die. I signed a prenuptial agreement with Zheng Yan. If he cheats on me, all my family will be mine. I was too curious to see how far he could go for Liu Yu. When nothing happened, we tacitly ended the Cold War. As before, he was busy with his work, and I was nestled on the couch catching up on dramas. After work, we hadn't eaten together for a long time, let alone him cooking. Zheng Yan was absent-minded and actually made a spicy crawfish dish with chili peppers and sprinkled with scallions. I knew that this was Liu Yu's favorite. Because she had thrown red oil on my school uniform for a whole day, my classmates laughed at how I smelled like lobster. My gaze fell on him as the man busily handled the other dishes, as if cooking for another woman through me. Couldn't help but speak. I don't eat green onions, I don't eat spicy, I'm allergic to shrimp. But Liu Yu eats. I guess Zheng Yan brought her home and cooked for her during the few days I was not at home. I also found a few extra leftovers in the fridge, and they all hit my taboos. Zheng Yan froze, still with an indifferent expression. You didn't eat it before? My heart ached, he didn't care about me at all. Every day he was busy until 8 or 9 o'clock when he came home, and the food I cooked was cold. Lying alone on the couch, waiting for him to come home. Boring programs played on the TV, I accidentally fell asleep, and then woke up. Zheng Yan had already cleaned up the dishes. It's been 10 years. There were so many nights that passed while waiting. I consoled myself with the thought that Yan was struggling for our future. He was working hard. I had to understand him. When the company is on track, we'll go on a trip and spend every day together. However, Liu Yu came back. I can no longer see a future for me and Yan. Suddenly feeling very tired, I was powerless to pull up a smile. Also, I'm the one who cooks for you. How would you know my taste? I dumped the dishes he just made into the trash and took him out to eat. Perhaps knowing he was sorry, he didn't say another spoiler. We held hands and strolled down the street. Zhang Yan was quiet. I had always taken the role of the talkative juggler in this relationship. My main veil has not yet picked it. Before that set is very beautiful, but you do not see. The cut is very good but some plain. I want to change a set of the most expensive, on top of all the diamonds, certainly very good. Where are we going to play on our honeymoon? How about a foreign island, far away from everyone, just the two of us, sleeping until we wake up naturally every day, eating barbecue on the beach? As you like it. Passing by the bar, Zhang Yan suddenly stopped. Through the glass of the bar, he could see Liu Yu being surrounded by a group of men pouring alcohol. He let go of my hand and rushed in with big strides. Ayan, don't go. No one responded. Liu Yu shrank in his arms like a frightened rabbit. Eyes reddened, shivering and hugging Zhang Yan's waist. I'm scared. Don't you know that it's dangerous for a girl to come here at night? Zhang Yan yelled at her, seemingly angry but actually concerned. He wouldn't be overly emotional towards me. Maybe he doesn't care too much. Her tears dripped in bunches. It was really a shame not to go to the theater. I was in a bad mood and wanted to drink to relieve it. Who knew I'd run into something like this? Thinking about my conflict with her, he hides an unreadable emotion in his eyes and whispers. It's my fault. The group of men weren't vegetarians either. Seeing the beautiful woman being robbed, they took the bottle and smashed it on Zhang Yan. Told you to spoil my good deed, don't you fucking open your eyes. The teenager had long since grown up and was no longer skinny, full of muscles, swinging his fist. The man was enraged. Who is this little bitch to you, protecting her so much? She's not a good bird. She's here every day to flirt. A few of our brothers have been staring at her for a few days. She's so open, she'll come and go as she pleases. The wine is also something she herself is willing to drink. Zhang Yan looked at Liu Yu. She shook her head with tears in her eyes. I didn't. They said that because they look at me. It's all rumors. He believes whatever she says. Not at all like the sensible and sober Zhang Yan I know. I didn't go to the fight, didn't call the police, and even privately thought that it would be quite good if Zhang Yan was killed. If I hadn't saved him in the first place, it would have been fine. I continued to walk forward, no longer have someone to hold by my side. Eat alone, go home alone. I'm used to it, but why does my heart hurt so much? Said not to think about Zhang Yan, do not rush to make a mistake. But I still cannot help it, sitting quietly in front of the windowsill, looking for the one in a million possible figure. The house did not turn on the lights, a dead silence, not a little bit of the appearance of the wedding room. I blinked my sore eyes. It was already 2 in the morning. My mind was awake, not sleepy at all. When I did see Zhang Yan, I waved my hand, forgetting that he couldn't see me. Liu Yu helped him out of the car and downstairs, where they embraced. My eyes widened and I shouted. No hugging. The darkness obscures too many details, but I clearly see them kissing. Slapping my hand hard against the window, I hissed feebly. Zhang Yan! Don't do this to me. Have you forgotten what you promised me? You said you'd give me a home. They couldn't hear. The only one who broke down was me. Zhang Yan went upstairs and Liu Yu took a ride away. I opened the door to my room and looked at the numbers displayed on the elevator, almost to this floor. Zhang Yan walked out, a bruise under his eye, a few stitches on his head, and a layer of gauze wrapped around it. You're so ugly. After saying this, I'm going to close the door and lock him out. Zhang Yan's hand reached into the slit. Yao Yao, there's no way I can stand by and watch a girl get doused with alcohol. Even if I don't know her, I'll still go and help her. There was no way I was going to clip his hand off and let him in, looking at the strange lover in front of me. Are you going to help her every time she's in trouble from now on? You say you love me. Do you ever think about how I feel? You ignore my emotions. You don't care, do you? He frowned slightly. I found her another job to get her out of my company. Yao Yao, she betrayed me and hurt me. I can't possibly love her anymore. I love you now. His tone of voice was so frank and honest that it looked like I was being unreasonable. He doesn't know that I saw them kissing intimately, but there's no hate to be seen at all. Lip color like tonight's miserable moonlight, pale in despair, I looked into his deep eyes, slightly opened my lips. We break up. These 3 words, the pain cannot speak. The wedding was held as scheduled because Zhang Yan, his mother, suddenly became seriously ill. I don't know how long I can hold out. The old man's last wish is to see us get married. In front of the hospital bed, I held Zhang Yan's pale hand and sobbed uncontrollably. Good boy, are going to be a bride. Cry again, makeup will be spent. Since the death of my parents, she has given my family the feeling of being like my mother, who would comb my pigtails, cook me good food, and come to stay with me when she was free. How I wish for her to be healthy and disease-free for the rest of her life. I would take my life expectancy against it if I could. I'm old. I can't stay with you for long. Replace it with my son to stay with you. You guys live a good life. Couples can only go far if they tolerate each other. Aunt Zhang seemed to see the unhappiness between us and advised on both sides. Zhang Yan, you too, don't be too busy with work. Don't forget to spend more time with your wife. Yao Yao married into our family to live a good life. She's been alone for so long and finally has a home. It was the first time I saw him in tears. He leaned down and hugged his mom. Don't worry, Mom. At the wedding banquet, I wore the most expensive wedding dress with exquisite makeup and took Zhang Yan's hand. Our breakup certainly didn't count. Zhang Yan did break contact with Liu Yu and began to learn every aspect of me. He no longer came home late, learned to cook my favorite dishes, and accompanied me to catch up with dramas. At night, he hugged me and bit my ear slightly aggressively. Yao Yao, call me Yan, don't ignore me. Everything is so good that it's a bit fake. He was looking at his cell phone before he went on stage, and I thought he was nervous about memorizing his words. Unexpectedly, the MC asked him, Do you take Miss Shen Yao as your wife? I had a pang of uneasiness in my heart, a pang of fear that came inexplicably. The crowd stirred, and the people under the stage exclaimed, Isn't that Liu Yu? She's going to jump? Zhang Yan flew out, his brows agitated as he ran wildly towards the rooftop. Hey, Zhang Yan, you're not getting married? The MC was so anxious that he jumped to his feet, and the old classmates on the stage ate big melons and sent their friends circles. I did not explain, picked up his cell phone that fell on the mat. I don't have the habit of looking at my boyfriend's cell phone to check on him, but now he has nothing to do with me. Looking at the 2 people on the rooftop tugging at each other, the password was opened after trying it once. Sure enough, it was Liu Yu's birthday. Turning his eyes again, Zhang Yan got down on both knees and advised Liu Yu not to think about it. The wedding ring that should have been on my hand was placed on Liu Yu's hand, and I thought I heard Zhang Yan say, I do. The licking dog, when he proposed to me, he still kneeled on one knee. Zhang Yan's note to Liu Yu is Little Moon, and his note to me is Shen Yao. I looked at their chat logs, my heart getting numb. Yan, I really had bitter feelings when I broke up with you. He forced me to beat you to death if I didn't break up with you. I was so scared. I didn't want to see you get hurt. I think that separating is good for both of us, but I really can't forget you. Every moment I'm abroad, I miss you, and I'm happy to think of you teaching me math problems and you scolding me for being stupid. Zhang Yan replied back. Idiot. The further I scrolled down, the louder I laughed. It turned out that the fool was myself. When Liu Yu wanted to eat Zhang Yan's handmade dishes, he went to learn and cut his hand. She sent many heartbroken emoticons. Brother, Yao Yao, she won't misunderstand, right? Brother, my family forced me to go on a blind date and scolded me for not being able to get married. I really feel so bad. I'll go to hell. So there was the self-directed scene today. I saved the evidence and sued for divorce. I left the divorce papers and left that day. After Zhang Yan pacified Liu Yu, he accompanied her for a long time, long enough for the sky to darken. Only then did he think of me. Along the way, he thought of countless ways to say, how to make me not angry, how to retain me. After all, the company is in the listing stage. A scandal will have an impact. Fingerprints unlocked, a dead silence in the room, out of reach. He thought I was having a conflict, just like before. Yao Yao. Don't be mad, wife. Baby, I'll give you another more luxurious wedding. You must like the open-air wedding banquet on the beach, then spread flowers. No one responded to him. Bedroom, toilet, kitchen, study, balcony, not me. He paced, panicked, took out his cell phone to contact me. Turning his head, he saw the divorce agreement on the table, which I had signed long ago. Shen Yao, 2 words, such as a sharp blade into his heart, coldness from the spine upward spread, pinching the document of the finger bones white. Stunned in place for a moment, confused, mouth chanting. Impossible. She loves me, loved me a long time ago, loved me enough to carry me to the hospital in one breath, loved me enough to want to take care of me even when she was sick, loved me enough to fundraise for me to open a company and give me everything. She definitely won't let go easily. Because of Willow Moon, she left home for 3 days and didn't come back. Because of my mom, we'll still get married, she's just too disgruntled to break up with me. He leaned against the couch and sat paralyzed, combing through our relationship over and over again. In the middle of a mess, I love him became that breakthrough. It must be a lie. If I just bow my head, she'll surely come back to me obediently. Little did he know that I loved him had a prefix, used to. I loved him once. It was windy at the airport and my hair was blinding me. I didn't see the caller, and in my trance I heard Zhang Yan's slightly crying voice. Yao Yao, where are you? Come back, okay? There was a moment of silence. I know you love me, come back, let's talk it over. I'll give you a bigger wedding, promise I won't make any more mistakes. I couldn't hold back any longer and burst into tears of laughter. Zhang Yan, you are shameless. On the basis that I love you, you can hurt me with impunity? You and Liu Yu cuddle and kiss, you cook for her, you bring her around and keep an eye on her at all times, and I go back to watch you guys fall in love? On the other end of the phone, Zhang Yan took a deep breath, noticing that I stopped calling him a Yan and initiated him to draw a line in the sand, only to realize that I turned out to know all. Then open your mouth, the words of retention changed flavor. Yao Yao, all men make mistakes, for the sake of our love for 10 years, forgive me. About to board the plane, my patience ran out and I decided not to beat around the bush. I wish you and Liu Yu to be together, to rot and stink, and to get the hell out of my world. Also, you don't just make mistakes, you can even say the wrong thing. Listen carefully, I don't love you. Sunshine, beach, bikini. This is my life now. Looking at the extra billion or so on the account, the mood is not too good. Men are unreliable, only money won't run, so I settled in Hawaii. Full payment to buy a mansion with ocean view. Every day eat and sleep, sleep and eat. Thinking to see the progress of the domestic good theater, open WeChat, full screen of unread messages. The first one on the top, a yawn baby. Damn, forgot to delete. And then look. 99 plus. Clicking in with curiosity. Yao Yao, I'll give you back a perfect wedding again. Where did you go? Why didn't you tell me? It's my fault. I didn't want to betray you. I just didn't want to hurt anyone else. Seeing this, the water that I just drank spewed out directly. Shameless enough. I really broke clean with Liu Yu. Yao Yao, you come back. Who believes that? The latter were all voices, some with a strong crying tone, full of remorse. Yao Yao, mom is gone. She was so angry she had a heart attack. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let Liu Yu irritate her. Yao Yao, I drank a lot of wine today. My stomach is hard. I want to drink the sobering soup you made. Can you come back? Apart from the voice, can imagine his haggard depravity. In fact, I don't feel good. The only thing I can't let go is Aunt Zhang. The night of the wedding drama, I bought a flight ticket to Hawaii. Waiting for the plane, the phone suddenly rang. It was Auntie Zhang. In the video, she still smiled kindly at me and called me for the first time. Good girl. In the past, she always said that when I passed away, she would be able to raise me as a daughter in name only. However, Zhang Yan and I had already made it known and become a joke. I wasn't able to suppress the soreness in my heart, and my voice trembled as I called out to her. Mom! She nodded her head and tears flowed out. Yao Yao, such a man we do not rare. You casually spend his money, go out to play, go for a break. Do not miss him, treat yourself well. My son, there's no teaching by word or example. In the end, he's actually a blind one, just like his father. I heard that when Zhang Yan was 3 years old, his father rolled away all the money in the family and ran away with his mistress. In her life, Aunt Zhang hated scum. He doesn't deserve your love. It's our family that has wronged you. Finally, I heard the familiar words that my mom had also said to me before she died. You study hard and live well. On the other side of the camera, I was in tears, feeling as if I was going to lose something. Panicking inside, I got up and wanted to rush to the hospital. Don't come back, out of sight, out of mind. I'm an old woman here to take the heat off you. In Mom's eyes, I boarded the plane to fly abroad. That side, after all, was the last. My last family member was gone. I have a habit of writing down the emotions in my head on paper when I am in a bad mood. The emotions find an outlet, and I can feel better. Zhang Yan doesn't know, because in front of him, I am the little son, and I make him laugh with a big grin. Fearing that he would think I was too pretentious, I was all about easing my emotions behind my back. I am trained not to get angry in general, unless I can't help it. At this moment, Zhang Yan saw the notes on the table, and his hand squeezing the paper trembled slightly. Zhang Yan, you are bad. Didn't you say that you like me to give me a home? Didn't you say that there will never be a mistress? Are you all lying to me? You favor Liu Yu, anyone can see it, and bring me mint milk tea. That stuff is like toothpaste. I told you I don't like it, you just can't remember it. I think you're stupid. You can't remember what I like or don't like, and you can't tell who's really nice to you. You don't know Liu Yu, she bullied me, Xia, got the also want to destroy, don't allow me to covet you, take my clothes off, take pictures to warn me to stay away from you, I sometimes even envy her, have so many means to achieve their own purpose. But I will not what means, just like you, will only love you single-mindedly. There are watermarks on the paper, he imagined me writing while crying. Buy you breakfast in the morning, after school with you to write homework, you impatient look cool, serious reading when the wind blowing up your hair, handsome, time, you are impatient also used to me, and finally you agreed to my 10th confession. I was worried that you don't love me, just get used to having me, but you asked me to marry you, I'm happy and crazy, I'm not married to you in this life. When Zhang Yan read this, tears haloed his pen and ink, he wanted to wipe it, but he was afraid to paste more words. Forget it, Yan, be nice to me, I'm very easy to coax, I'll forgive you if you and she stop seeing each other and secretly wait for me at the door. Zhang Yan closed his notes and placed them on his heart, saying sincerely word by word. I really love you. We won't miss each other again, I'm going to take you home. He asked everyone who came on the wedding day if they knew where I went. They all shook their heads and even asked rhetorically, Aren't you in love with Liu Yu? Why did you still go to her? Zhang Yan pulled his hair hard and scolded himself. I'm stupid. He found my best friend, hoping to get my whereabouts. She saw Zhang Yan's madness and didn't hold back from giving a hint. I don't know where she is, but she must have told you. You're the one who forgot. He hung his head helplessly. I forgot? Where would she go? Suddenly the words honeymoon popped into his head, like I said I wanted to go to an island for my honeymoon. It seems like that was the same time he absent-mindedly held my hand and saw Willow Moon in the bar. He left me behind once again. That night, Zhang Yan packed a few clothes and went to the airport. He didn't know which island I was going to. The world was so big and there were so many islands. He planned to look for them one by one, search all the islands, and find me. But I had already left Hawaii. The divorce proceedings aren't finished. I have to go back home to deal with the mess. By the way, I went to see Annie Zhang and Mom and Dad to sweep their graves. As soon as I landed, I wore a trench coat and sunglasses, striding out of the airport. Without paying attention, I bumped into a tall, skinny passerby. My shell bracelet fell to the ground and shattered. Sorry. Hearing his voice, I only felt a little familiar. Didn't think too much about it. It's okay, I just left in a bit of a hurry, let me collect it. He, however, froze in place. I threw the remnants into the trash can and was just about to leave. He took my hand. Yao Yao? Is that you? Huh? I took off my glasses and looked at him. Sorry, who are you? It was only after I said that I thought he looked a little familiar, like my scummy ex, but a dehydrated tanned version. He was just as skinny. I guess my favorite muscle had fallen off. I'm a Yan, you're a Yan. Oh. Seeing him again after 3 months was like a lifetime ago. I imagined seeing him again, whether I would curse him angrily or cry uncontrollably. But when I did see him, I was just calm, like meeting a stranger. It turns out that seeing more of the world is a real way to let go of what you thought was important. Where have you been? I've been looking for you for ages and couldn't find you. He looked forlorn. His handsome facial contours still look good when they're thin, only I don't like it anymore. I just came back from Hawaii. So that's where you were. I searched so many places for nothing. I went to the Maldives, Bali, and to Santorini, and I couldn't find you. He and I waited for the car on the curb, with someone else standing between them, and I gathered my trench coat tighter, unable to read the emotions in his eyes. It always felt like he was on the verge of breaking, like my shell bracelet. Instead, I inexplicably wanted to make up for it, because he wasn't like the Zhang Yan I knew. I told you I'm going to Hawaii for the honeymoon. He looked at me with tears in his eyes and asked shakily. When? One dinner, we were eating together and I was talking to you and you were swiping your phone, not sure who you were talking to, probably Yanuki. I act breezy, as if I'm talking about what we're having for dinner tonight. He squatted down, like an abandoned stray puppy, his fingers snapping at the ground, apologizing over and over. People came and went, all looking at me. I uncomfortably patted his back. If you don't get up first, I'm not bullying you. Zhang Yan finally stopped his childish behavior and looked at me with wet eyes. Yao Yao, come home with me. The car came and stopped in front of the two of us. I don't want to. I no longer cared about his emotions, no longer pretended to be sunny and cheerful, and did everything as I pleased. Translated with deepl.com free version. Zhang Yan, I'm here to get a divorce. Why don't you sign the divorce agreement? Our wedding room is still there, in its old look, the retro and simple style I like. I thought Liu Yu would move in here. It seems that she didn't get her wish. Zhang Yan skillfully prepared the meal, 4 dishes and 1 soup, and the corn ribs were very much to my taste. He didn't eat, just stared at me as if he couldn't get enough. I really love you. I almost spit out a mouthful of soup and coughed violently. He wiped the corner of my mouth carefully, and I took the tissue from his hand. Thank you, no need. I couldn't eat the meal, so I simply took out the document. Sign it. Zhang Yan didn't move. His skin was tanned into bronze, and he looked like an 18-year-old bronze man when he had no expression. I don't know how long it took, but his lips finally moved. I'm done with her. I'm sorry for you, sorry for my mom, I deserve to die. Can you forgive me? I really did a lot of shitty things. Every day without you, I'm like a walking corpse, living without purpose. Don't go, Yao Yao. 3 months ago, if he had said this, I might have softened my heart. Unfortunately, there is no if. There is no regret medicine in the world, but there are mistakes and enlightenment. I have made too many mistakes with Zhang Yan. If you love me, you should respect my opinions. Listen to what I say and remember what I mean. I don't need you to hurt yourself, do a lot of self-touching things, and don't kidnap me with meaningless efforts. The light in Zhang Yan's eyes dimmed, and this time he understood. There is no possibility between us. Missing is missing. Okay? He has signed many documents, and he has never blinked an eye at contracts worth hundreds of millions. This time, his hand was shaking so much when he held the pen that he accidentally dropped it on the ground. He bent down to pick it up, and his spine was clearly visible. He wrote his name stroke by stroke, and it was so difficult that the two characters Zhang Yan were crooked and looked like a dog crawling. Yao Yao, where will you go in the future? I smiled, and there was an expectation in my eyes that I couldn't hide, which overlapped with Zhang Yan's impression of Shen Yao, and he was stunned for a moment. I am going abroad to study financial management. I have already received the admission letter. I also want to start a company and continue to talk about business in the future. Zhang Yan listened carefully and remembered every word in his heart. He wanted to be in my future, but there was no place for him in my future. The chandelier shook with a halo, and I seemed to see Aunt Zhang, my mother, and my father. They looked at me with relief and said to me, "Live well and love yourself well."